Welcome to our channel. Today, we explore the powerful and deeply human story of Halsey, a global music icon whose courage goes far beyond the stage. In 2024, she revealed she is living with lupus and chronic leukemia, choosing honesty over silence and strength over fear. Through raw music, openness, and resilience, Halsey continues to inspire millions, proving that vulnerability is not weakness, but power. As a mother and artist, she transforms pain into purpose and struggle into connection. Join us as we dive into her remarkable journey. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more inspiring stories. Leonardo Flaco Jimenez, who passed away on July 31st, 2025, at the age of 86, leaves behind an extraordinary legacy as one of the most influential accordionists and ambassadors of Tex-Mex music. Born in San Antonio, Texas, on March 11, 1939, Flaco was immersed in music from a young age, following in the footsteps of his father, Santiago Jimenez Sr., a pioneer of conjunto music. Over the course of 7 decades, Flaco Jimenez elevated regional Mexican styles, conjunto, norteño, and tejano, to international stages, introducing countless listeners to the rich musical traditions of the U.S.-Mexico borderlands. Flaco's signature accordion style blended rhythmic drive, melodic sweetness, and virtuosic flair, creating a sound that transcended language and genre. His influence extended far beyond the confines of Tex-Mex, as he collaborated with major artists including Bob Dylan, Ry Cooder, Dwight Yoakam, and the Rolling Stones. As a member of the Grammy-winning supergroups Texas Tornadoes and Los Super 7, Flaco brought traditional music to contemporary audiences, fusing elements of rock, country, and Latin music into groundbreaking performances. Jimenez received multiple Grammy Awards, including a Lifetime Achievement Award, and was honored by the National Endowment for the Arts with a National Heritage Fellowship. His recordings, which span solo albums, collaborations, and session work, are widely regarded as cultural treasures that preserved and evolved the sound of border music. Flaco Jimenez died peacefully at his home in San Antonio due to complications from congestive heart failure, which he had battled for several years. Despite his declining health in his later years, he remained a beloved figure in the music community, often appearing at festivals and cultural events when able. His passing marks the end of an era, but his music and spirit continue to resonate through generations of musicians he inspired. He is survived by his wife, Adela Jimenez, and his 5 children, Rosalinda Jimenez Esquivel, Rachel Fernandez, Leonardo Jimenez Jr., Gil Jimenez, and David Jimenez, who carry on his enduring legacy. Flaco's accordion may be silent, but his music will forever echo through the heart of American and Mexican cultural heritage. Allan Ahlberg, 5th June 1938, 31st July 2025, was a beloved British children's author whose work left a lasting imprint on generations of readers. Born in Croydon and raised in the Black Country, Ahlberg's early life and diverse working-class background shaped the warmth and relatability of his writing. Before turning to literature, he worked a variety of jobs: postman, gravedigger, soldier, plumber's mate, and teacher. Experiences that provided rich insight into everyday life and human emotion. Ahlberg's literary journey began in earnest when he met his wife, Janet Ahlberg, at Teacher Training College. The duo formed one of the most iconic partnerships in children's literature. While Allan wrote the stories, Janet illustrated them with charm and sensitivity. Together, they created classics such as Peepo, Each Peach Pear Plum, and The Jolly Postman. These books blended rhythmic text with engaging visuals, setting a standard in picture book storytelling. Their work was notable for its wit, warmth, and deep understanding of childhood. and has been translated into multiple languages and adored worldwide. Janet passed away in 1994, a loss that deeply affected Allan. Despite the grief, he continued to write, often collaborating with their daughter, Jessica Ahlberg, who followed in her mother's footsteps as an illustrator. Their joint work ensured the continuation of the Ahlberg legacy, bringing a new generation into the fold of classic storytelling. Allan Ahlberg died peacefully on 31 July 2025, aged 87. According to a family statement, the cause of death was complications related to heart failure, following a period of declining health. In his final years, Ahlberg remained reflective and appreciative of the life he led, and the joy his stories brought to millions. His legacy lives on, not only in the countless books still cherished by children and adults alike, but also through the influence he had on modern children's literature. Allan Ahlberg will be remembered as a writer who understood the magic of childhood, and who, through gentle humor and human insight, turned simple tales into timeless treasures. John Michael Ozzy Osbourne, often hailed as the Prince of Darkness, left an indelible mark on the world of music and pop culture. As the frontman of Black Sabbath, a band widely credited with birthing heavy metal, Osbourne redefined the boundaries of rock music. His raw, haunting vocals and dark lyrical themes contributed to the creation of a genre that would influence countless bands and musicians for generations. Black Sabbath's early albums, such as Paranoid and Master of Reality, became seminal works, laying the foundation for heavy metal's evolution. After parting ways with Black Sabbath in 1979, Ozzy embarked on a successful solo career, launching hits like Crazy Train, Mr. Crowley, and No More Tears. His band, featuring legendary guitarist Randy Rhoads, brought a new level of musicianship to the genre. Osbourne's solo work kept his legacy alive across decades, winning him numerous awards, including Grammys and Hall of Fame inductions. Beyond music, Ozzy became a media icon. His reality TV show, The Osbournes, brought heavy metal into mainstream pop culture, showcasing a more human, humorous side of the rock legend. Despite a history of personal struggles with addiction and health, he remained a symbol of resilience and authenticity in an ever-changing industry. Ozzy Osbourne passed away on July 22, 2025, at the age of 76 in Jordan's United Kingdom. The causes of death were complications from Parkinson's disease, which he had publicly battled since 2019, along with a series of injuries and surgeries that severely impacted his mobility and overall health in later years. His condition had gradually worsened, and he had retired from touring in 2023 due to physical limitations. Despite his health challenges, Ozzy continued to inspire fans through music, interviews, and candid reflections on life and mortality. His influence on rock and metal remains unmatched, and his legacy endures in the countless artists and fans he inspired. Ozzy Osbourne's life was one of defiance, creativity, and raw emotion, true to the spirit of rock and roll. Thomas Andrew Lehrer, widely known as Tom Lehrer, was a unique blend of intellect and wit, a brilliant mathematician and satirical songwriter whose legacy spans both the world of academia and musical satire. Lehrer's influence is enduring, with his sharp satirical songs remaining culturally and politically relevant decades after their release. Lehrer's music, often laced with dark humor and biting social commentary, became a defining voice in American counterculture during the 1950s and 1960s. Songs like Poisoning Pigeons in the Park, The Elements, and The Vatican Rag showcased his extraordinary ability to mix erudition with irreverence. His style was distinct: clever rhymes, rapid delivery, and an unapologetic critique of hypocrisy, war, and institutional absurdities. Though he officially retired from musical performance in the 1970s, his influence continued through parodies, adaptations, and educational settings. Lehrer also contributed music to the educational TV show The Electric Company, further cementing his impact on generations of young learners. Beyond music, Lehrer was a respected academic. A Harvard-educated mathematician, he taught at prestigious institutions including MIT and the University of California, Santa Cruz, where he later shifted to teaching musical theater. His intellectual versatility and refusal to seek fame underscored his integrity and humility. Lehrer chose a life of privacy over public accolades, and in recent years, he released all of his music into the public domain, a move that won widespread admiration. Tom Lehrer passed away on July 26, 2025, in Cambridge, Massachusetts, at the age of 97. According to sources close to the family, he died of natural causes associated with aging. Lehrer had lived a long, intellectually rich life, marked by curiosity, humor, and a fierce commitment to speaking truth to power through art and scholarship. His legacy lives on in the countless artists, educators, and satirists he inspired. Lehrer showed that intellect and humor can be powerful tools for reflection and change, leaving behind a cultural footprint that will resonate for generations. In 2024, Halsey revealed a truth that stunned fans and reshaped how the world saw her, not just as an artist, but as a person. Diagnosed with lupus and chronic leukemia, she chose to confront the news with honesty instead of silence. For years, Halsey has woven vulnerability into her music, but this revelation was different. Raw, life-altering, and deeply human. Rather than letting rumors dictate her story, she opened up through her art, reminding fans that even in struggle, there can be resilience, hope, and connection. Her journey continues, defined not by illness, but by courage. A balancing act between vulnerability and strength. What makes Halsey's story so compelling is the delicate balance she has managed to strike between vulnerability and strength. In a world that often pressures public figures to appear flawless, she has chosen a different path, one that embraces honesty over perfection. She has never shied away from admitting that she feels exhausted, scared, or overwhelmed. Her openness strips away the illusion of celebrity invincibility and reminds people that even those who shine brightly on stage face very real struggles behind the curtain. Yet, in the same breath, Halsey refuses to let her health challenges define who she is or take away her creativity. Instead, she has transformed those experiences into art that feels raw, authentic, and deeply human. For fans, she is not just a pop star. They see someone navigating life's hardships with honesty and grace. Motherhood has deepened this authenticity even further. When Halsey welcomed her son into the world, it shifted her perspective in profound ways. Living with chronic conditions while caring for a child brought new challenges, but it also gave her a sense of grounding and empathy she had never known before. She has spoken about how motherhood taught her patience, redefined her priorities, and revealed the resilience that comes with unconditional love. In many ways, it has made her health journey less isolating. Though her conditions may be rare, the emotions she describes, vulnerability, fatigue, and uncertainty, are universally felt by parents everywhere. By embracing both her fragility and her strength, Halsey offers a powerful example of what it means to live authentically. Her story reminds us that resilience is not about never breaking down. It is about facing life's challenges with honesty, courage, and the willingness to keep moving forward. The power of sharing. When Halsey opened up to her fans in 2024 about her health struggles, she did it with remarkable courage and honesty. It wasn't an attempt to draw sympathy or make headlines. It was about being real. By choosing transparency, she not only freed herself from the weight of silence, but also gave countless others something they desperately needed: validation. For people living with invisible illnesses, finding recognition and understanding can be a constant uphill battle. Halsey's willingness to speak openly reminded them that their experiences are valid, their struggles are real, and they are not alone. Her story also redefined the meaning of resilience. Too often, resilience is portrayed as smiling through pain or pushing forward without complaint. But Halsey demonstrated that true resilience is about continuing to move forward even when the road feels unbearably heavy. It's about acknowledging the challenges while still finding ways to show up, on stage, in the studio, or simply in everyday life. That message resonated deeply, especially with fans who saw in her an example of strength that doesn't erase vulnerability but coexists with it. Perhaps most importantly, her openness cultivated empathy. In a culture quick to dismiss what it cannot see, Halsey's story challenged people to reconsider their assumptions about illness and strength. She reminded the world that pain is not always visible, and that compassion should not depend on appearances. By sharing her truth, she created space for others to do the same, fostering a community built not on perfection, but on understanding. In the end, Halsey's decision to speak out was more than a personal revelation. It was an act of connection. It reminded fans and strangers alike that authenticity is powerful, vulnerability is courageous, and empathy is the bridge that brings us closer together. Moving forward with hope. Today, Halsey continues to navigate her health with honesty and grace. While the challenges are ongoing, she has found ways to balance her conditions with her career, her art, and her role as a mother. She has also embraced the idea that being open about her struggles can create meaningful change, not only for her own sense of empowerment, but also for the millions of people who look to her as a source of inspiration. The story of her early struggles and the turning point of motherhood is not one of defeat, but of resilience. It is about learning to live with complexity, embracing vulnerability, and finding strength in unexpected places. Halsey's journey is far from over, but each chapter reflects her ability to transform pain into connection and hardship into art. Her health battles may be ongoing, but her spirit remains unshaken. Through every diagnosis, every flare-up, and every moment of doubt, she has chosen to live authentically, reminding the world that strength is not the absence of struggle, but the courage to face it. For her fans, and for anyone living with invisible illnesses, Halsey's story is proof that even in the most difficult circumstances, hope and resilience can still shine through. The shocking revelation of lupus and chronic leukemia. By mid-2024, Halsey delivered news to her fans that was far more life-altering than any artistic announcement. She revealed that she had been diagnosed with lupus and chronic leukemia, two conditions that would test not just her body, but her spirit. These were not minor setbacks or temporary struggles. Lupus, an autoimmune disease, can target any organ, bringing unpredictable pain and exhaustion. Chronic leukemia, on the other hand, is a blood cancer that redefines the course of someone's life in an instant. Understandably, the announcement sent a ripple of worry through her fan base and dominated headlines. Yet, when Halsey herself addressed the revelation, her tone was remarkably calm and steady. She acknowledged the severity of her diagnoses, but stressed that her conditions were now under control with treatment. There was no plea for pity or despair, only a firm commitment to transparency and a refusal to let her story be twisted by speculation. How the world learned the truth. Halsey has always used art as a mirror of her inner world. and her choice to share her diagnoses through music was both bold and deeply personal. In June 2024, she released the song The End, a hauntingly vulnerable track that opened with lyrics describing her sickness and struggles with treatment. For many listeners, it felt less like a typical release and more like being handed pages from her diary, set to music. The honesty struck like lightning, heartbreaking because of the pain it revealed, but comforting because of the trust it signified. Fans could sense she was letting them in on her truth, not as distant spectators, but as witnesses walking alongside her. Later that year, Halsey confirmed in interviews and social media posts what her lyrics had already suggested. The song was not an abstract story, it was her life. By being upfront, she dismantled any space for rumors or sensationalism. Instead, she used her platform to reclaim her own narrative, turning vulnerability into empowerment. The courage to speak for someone in Halsey's position, being this open about health struggles, was not without risks. Celebrities who show vulnerability are often accused of oversharing or dramatizing, their pain dissected by strangers who have no idea what their reality looks like. Yet Halsey refused to let fear of judgment silence her. By choosing to share, she not only protected herself from gossip, but also positioned herself as a voice for the millions of people silently navigating similar illnesses. Her candor highlighted a profound truth. Chronic illness does not discriminate. Fame, money, and talent cannot protect someone from the unpredictability of the body. Her story reminded the world that behind the glitz of the stage, there is a human being whose struggles are just as raw and real as anyone else's. In choosing honesty over silence, Halsey broke down stigma and encouraged others to speak without shame about their invisible battles. Health, art, and healing music has always been Halsey's sanctuary. Since her debut album Badlands, she has woven her personal struggles into her work, blending raw vulnerability with sonic power. Her albums, Hopeless Fountain Kingdom, Manic, and If I Can't Have Love, I Want Power, each carried fragments of her life, confronting love, chaos, identity, and survival. But The End marked something different. This was not just a song about a feeling or a phase. It was a revelation of lived experience. Through that track, Halsey turned her health struggles into a vessel of healing, not just for herself, but for her fans. She showed how art can be both a confession and a lifeline. To those living with similar battles, her music became proof that pain can be transformed into connection, motherhood, and perspective. Another layer of Halsey's resilience comes from her role as a mother. Raising her son while living with chronic conditions has given her a perspective grounded in patience, love, and priorities. Motherhood has reminded her that life, even when chaotic, is filled with moments worth cherishing. In interviews, she has spoken about how caring for her child has softened the isolating edges of illness, making her feel less alone. Her journey highlights the dual reality many parents face, juggling personal struggles with the responsibility of nurturing another life. By speaking about this openly, she connects with countless parents who quietly manage similar battles. In that honesty, she gives them not only validation, but also a sense of solidarity. Moving forward with hope. Today, Halsey continues to live with lupus and chronic leukemia, navigating treatments and flare-ups while balancing her career, art, and motherhood. The journey is ongoing, and the road ahead will not always be easy. Yet what stands out is her refusal to be defined by her illnesses. Instead, she embraces them as part of her story, while still reaching for hope and healing. Her openness has created ripple effects far beyond music. For fans, she has become a symbol of courage in the face of uncertainty, a reminder that strength does not mean the absence of pain. For the wider world, her story challenges assumptions about what illness looks like and what resilience truly means. Halsey's journey is far from over, but each chapter reveals her ability to turn pain into art, vulnerability into strength, and hardship into connection. Her story is not one of defeat. It is one of persistence, authenticity, and courage. Through her honesty, she reminds us all that hope can shine even in the darkest moments, and that resilience is not about being unbreakable, but about refusing to stop moving forward.